Hello there, my name is Mackenzie. Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to go ahead and go do my February wrap up. It is going to be a not as eventful February as maybe other people's. You know, it's a short month, and if I keep saying that, then I will eventually feel like it's a good enough reason. Because I do a monthly goal check-in, I'm really not going to do a lot of stats right now. I'm going to do my wrap-up, I'm going to do my spot of shame while I talk to you about the books that I bought, and that'll be the video. If you're looking for stats, wait for me in the monthly goal check-in video. Should be coming up in a couple of days. See you then. For today, let's go over the books that I read in the order in which that I have read them. I do not have the ratings up. Give me a moment. Alright, I have the ratings. Let's get started. Let me scooch over a little bit. So, the first book that I finished this month was Finlay, Donovan Knocks 'em Dead. It's by Elle Cosimano. This is the second book in the Finlay Donovan series. There are 3 books out currently. It does seem like there are going to be more books, so stay tuned. I'm also very excited. So being the second book in a series, I can't really tell you too much except that Finlay's still on her game. She's still hysterical. In this book, it is still very easy to believe the things that she gets herself into. There aren't really a lot of moments where you're like, I don't think so. So if you're one of those people that has a really hard time like throwing caution to the wind and just believing what's happening, then I do think that this still might be for you because it is really, really good. The humor is great still. I really enjoyed the story and the plot beats, and I'm really enjoying the arc that we're following. I hope that there will be more arcs, but who knows with the way that it's going. I have also really enjoyed the way that Finlay, she's a writer, and so the books that she is writing are following the stories that are happening also. So it kind of helps her figure out what's going on by writing it down. Really cool. I will say it's very Wednesday Addams. I don't know who stole from who, but it's very cool. The next book, I gave Finlay Donovan a 4 stars. I loved it. But you know, it's one of those things where it's so simple, I feel like I'm not really caring too much if there is plot or not. And, you know, it's a light plot anyways. And it's not one of those mysteries where you can find out what's going on, I think, based on the clues that they give you. I don't think that that's possible. Not like I've tried, but I don't think it's possible. So if that's your thing, this might not be what you may be looking for. But it's still really good, and I really feel like you should give it a try. Anyways, The Pallbearers Club by Tremblay. I read this for my vampire-adjacent reading vlog. It is finally up. I'll link it up in the cards for you to go and see all of my thoughts and my views and my opinions. Take a guess in the comments. What do you think? Did I love it? Did I hate it? What do you think? I loved it. I gave it a 5 star. This was fucking amazing. This was so spectacularly good. Vampire stories, I think, for whatever reason, have gotten this expectation, or people have this expectation about vampire stories, where they're supposed to be very aggressive and violent and dramatic, and like, where did you get that idea? Because if you read Dracula, that shit be boring. That should be slow. There's barely any Dracula in it. So what really are we talking about when we're talking about vampire books? What do you really like? Do you like action adventure? Because maybe you would really enjoy some fantasy. That's out there for you. The Witcher has a lot of really fun monster fights. But if you're looking for tragic and themes of tragedy and despair and loneliness and being a burden on others and literally taking the life force of somebody else, this is what we're after. I need to reread this book. I did not tab this book because I didn't know what I was going to want to tab for, and now I know exactly what to tab for. I need to know. I need to know. So this book is a fake memoir. So it's not Paul Tremblay's memoir, but it is a character that he wrote who is writing a memoir. And this memoir is found by a childhood friend, and that childhood friend decides to read it and decides to like annotate it, make notes at the ends of some chapters, fill in her side of the story, and to kind of talk to him a little bit. You get the feeling that they're not close anymore for some reason, but this is a kind of way that she at least is feeling cathartic about. So you're getting both perspectives. I think it is interesting the way that they play off of each other, because he obviously wrote it not necessarily with the intention of there being a response, but the response being there gives the rest of it a little bit more lift. It's such a great story. So in the memoir, the character is talking about his childhood friend. This memoir that he writes, while about himself, really focuses on his childhood friend who's reading it right now, and how she may or may not be a vampire. And how he may or may not have been enthralled by her. Made victim by? Possibly? It's insane. It's insane how freaking good it is. And I will be rereading this because I'm on a hunt for clues. I'm on a hunt for clues, for Blue's Clues. Oh my god, it was so good. I was enthralled. Oh, this was great. This was great. So I did kind of gush right now, but if you want to see my intermediary thoughts and some spoiler talk, that'll be up in the cards. That'll be up there for you. Okay, bye. Oh, it's so good. Okay, next I read the Literally Dead book club pick, which is Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun by Elle Cosimano. This is the third book in that series. Finlay Donovan's still on her shit. I mean, same kind of things that I could say about the second book. I feel like this one really has a good handle on the amount of comedy needed to allow you to suspend your disbelief long enough to allow the certain things to happen. There was one moment where I was like, of course, because it's a Finlay Donovan book. But that was one moment in 3 books, and I think that's a pretty good average if you want to count moments where I was like, oh, okay, of course. So this one was still really good. It was a solid entry. I really enjoyed where we're going with Finlay's romantic life and everything that has been happening with her ex-husband and the kids. I enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to, because I wasn't sure of the plot, I guess, before I started reading. So I thought she was going to be in disguise, infiltrating this police training. That is not the case. She goes as Finlay Donovan to a civilians police training thing that they're having for like the community, and that's where it takes place. So it was much more believable. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed the change of setting. It was a lot of fun, and this one I felt like there were more opportunities for you to kind of pick up on all of the clues and allow it to be put together for yourself, or allow you to put it together yourself, as opposed to waiting for the end, because I did find myself actually trying to like, okay, who could it be? Like, who's the red herring? What are we doing? So that was really fun. I really did enjoy that too. I still gave this a 4-star, mainly because I feel like it's so easy breezy in the way that things are brought into the plot, taken out of the plot. Like, Finlay has 2 young kids. They come in and out of the plot so easy, as much as little or as little as needed, and there's always somewhere for them to be. And honestly, there are some parts of that where I'm just like, that's just not possible. I have never known a person to be able to escape their children. Like, I just, there were some things that were a little bit unbelievable that didn't have anything to do with the plot, but more so the way that the story was set up. So, not completely perfect, but I really did enjoy it, and I'm still going to continue to read. I haven't heard any buzz about book number 4, but I am really excited to hear about if there's going to be more buzz, because after reading book 3, yeah, that ends on another cliffhanger, so I'm very excited for book 4. Then I read the Heartbreak Bakery by A.R. Capetta. This one I read for the NB Book Club for February. This is a really cute story about a baker who, after being broken up with, makes a batch of brownies that ends up making everybody who eats them break up. And the baker is on a mission to go and put everybody back together again. It's a really, really sweet story with a little bit of magical realism thrown in and great commentary on what healthy relationships look like when you're still looking for identifiers for yourself as well. I really, really enjoyed it. It was really sweet, and I really loved the subtle art of the baking and how it really played a big part in the story, not just with the inciting event, but how everything came together, including conversations that our main characters were able to have, because this is a romance. So it was really, really sweet to be able to see the magical realism of all of it come together and create such a cohesive storyline. I gave this a 4-star. I really feel like there didn't seem to be life outside of the story. The main character is in high school still, and we really get none of their life at school. We don't hear about tests, we don't hear about schoolwork, we don't hear about them trying to do schoolwork while they're at the bakery because they're like behind on anything. We hear nothing about school. It's just a little bit weird that there's like nothing about that character's school. And then vice versa, the other love interest, they are at like college technically, but also there's no life of them outside of the fact that they take college courses and they deliver goods for the bakery. So like the story in the bakery was great, but like was there life outside of that? I don't really know. Didn't feel like it. I didn't need it really a lot. Not enough to bring this down to a 3 or a 2, but it could have had it to get to a 5. Then I read and finished The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This, really good. Really, really good. Really tragic and sad. There is on-page child abuse, incestual sexual assault, and racism. It was taking place in the 1960s in America. I'm not entirely sure of the area where it's taking place. I want to say the South, but I couldn't necessarily be 100% accurate. This takes place in 4 seasons over the course of a year. We are told the inciting event, which is that this young girl is assaulted by her father and ends up pregnant with his child. And then it continues to tell the story not from that inciting event or to get to that inciting event, but it talks about the people that are around this inciting event, the people that surround the child, the girl who was assaulted and attacked, and the man and the family that she grew up in, and how all of these people affected the family and in turn affected the situation that happened. And this is one of those stories where it was written to get across themes of racism and heartbreak and internalized racism and internalized hatred for who you are and your family and your situation and being unable to escape anything. It's tragic and horrible and heartbreaking, but it's purposeful and well done, and it gets that point across so perfectly well. This is a debut novel, and how dare she? How dare she? How could anyone do any better? Amazing, spectacular, 5 stars. I have no words. I have 0 words. This was amazing, and I can't believe it's been taken me so long to read a Toni Morrison, and now like I feel ready, because she isn't gratuitous. It's not soul-sucking, let's say, to sit in those moments. It's horrible and heartbreaking, and you're thinking of the tragedy, but you are not being described in gruesome detail the things that are happening. Just to know is enough, and I feel like this is well done and purposeful and important and a great work of art. I loved it. Then I attempted to read Witches Steeped in Gold by Ciannon Smart. I got 50% of the way through page 247. This is like a hour audiobook. This was very long. This is a duology. I, by the halfway point, didn't care about the characters at all. I really enjoyed what the story was setting up. I enjoyed a rebellion against a monarch who is no longer serving their people. I enjoy the dynamic of unlikely allies, but when everything is there just to be the trope stand-in with no real character development underneath, even at halfway, I know this is a duology, but I have to care about these characters before the end of this book if I'm going to want to read the second one. I do not like this book. It pains me to say this. I do not like it. I'm going to be getting rid of it. I don't like it. But I did get to round off my month with Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. Spectacular. Astounding. Another 5 stars. This is amazing. So I read this for the group book for the Blackathon Readathon. We are following a family of 3, a mother, a son, and a daughter, and we are following them kind of throughout their entire life. So it starts with mother and daughter, and mother realizes that daughter has a thing. This thing is the ability to control the world around her, sort of like telekinesis. It's not really named, but it feels like telekinesis. Then we bring in brother, who was born on the day of the LA riots. And this starts the kind of overall growth and decay, unfortunately, of our daughter character, who is watching the men in her life, the boys, the teenagers in her life, who are being attacked by police because they are black and because they are in this time frame, timeline, this time period where that's more of the norm than normal. And it's heartbreaking. It's beautiful and gorgeous, and she struggles with trying to be in control of her power when everyone else is out of control with theirs. And I believe a lot of the story is talking about why be good when they aren't, when the people who attack us are not. What is the point of being good? And it's a beautiful story with great lines told colloquially, so it's not like super out of reach, but it's gorgeous in its sadness. It's tragic and beautiful and spectacular, and I really enjoyed this story and following this trio for as long as we do. It was really great. So that rounds out my reading month. I read a lot of audiobooks. I want to say as many audiobooks as I did physical books. Here they are. So 3 and 3. Before I let you go, though, we are going to talk about my purchases for the month. Ring the bell.
Shame.
All right, let's get them. You're going to be proud of me. One whole book. I purchased one book in February. One. Me? One. Just the one. Just one for me, please. Don't worry about it. I only need the one. It was 30% off at Target. This is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I was really excited for this book because it seems really fun. It is a classic black book under the dust jacket. No end papers, which does sadden me, but it is okay. The book is told in the 5 stages of grief, which is really thematic and fun for me. I love when a book follows theme. So yeah, that's it. I tentative to say I love Grady Hendrix. So I read, where's my Hendrixes? I have read My Best Friend's Exorcist and the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. And I really did love both of them. I feel like they were really sweet. I do understand where a lot of complaints come with Southern Book Club's Guide because it's trying to cover a lot of issues, and it kind of gets a little messy, but to me it felt so genuine because that's kind of the way that life is. It's messy and there are a ton of issues, and sometimes it feels hopeless because everything and everyone is being tacked all at the same time, and it's rough. And My Best Friend's Exorcism, I feel like is such a beautiful story of female friendship, and how Grady Hendrix understands female relationships, I will never know, because those two books are both about female friendships, from like growing up to, you know, like from like little kid to like growing up to being a teenager, and then the other one is adult relationships, and they're done so well. So I mean, I'm really excited to read the things that he has coming up. I really wasn't excited about like his Last Girl book that he did, and Riley Sager did, and Stephen Graham Jones, all of them. They all did one, and I skipped all of them because, you know what, if everybody's gonna be unoriginal, I don't give a shit about any of them. But I am excited about this one. It feels like the camp is back. The camp is back. Okay, with all that being said and done, only reading 3, only buying 1. It's not as bad as January. I'll take it. We're not going to talk about stats. Don't worry about it. Anyways, that is my reading wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments, what was your favorite book that you read in February, and what are you prioritizing going into March? I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!
I don't wanna let myself down myself.